by mentioning what Kim was talking about there. Except I know that it was something I wanted to say about what you said there, Kim, but for some reason I lost it all of a sudden. But it'll come to me later. How about that? All right? Well, I'm glad you're here at Saturday Night Live because it's life recovery. It's good to see Vanessa here.
I have a question about the amends thing.
Sure. You may. But why didn't you ask these other guys? Why are you picking on me?
Well, I was going to ask him.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So, I have been attempting to repair a relationship with family that I had cut off in the beginning of my recovery and making that quote-unquote amends or whatever, and it has backfired. So, I guess my question is, all right, I did it, don't want to do it again. I have blocked them all again on Facebook. And they're, I think, I will quote myself what I said to my sister, they're dead to me, is what I said earlier, and I've been very emotional for the last couple of weeks because, I've been struggling to stay sober, and they've not been helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And so, do I have to go through all that crap again? I don't want to. Can I just make an amends and not have anything to do with them?
Can you, what was the question?
Can I make an amends with myself in this whole situation and just not even have anything to do with them? Because it hurt me.
Yes, I understand.
Like, I already tried it, and it's like walking into a fire.
Well, right now we're talking about step 8, okay? And step 8 says, to start off with, that we make a list of all persons. Wait a minute. The question is, Paul didn't remind me, but the question is, do I have it? I've tried it. It didn't work out. Do I have to do it again? Okay. Well, that's the question, correct?
Part of the question. I guess it's a multiple question.
Okay.
That's one question of the question.
Okay.
Yes.
And so that's the first part. Part A is, do I have to do it again? So what's part B?
Can I do it and make an amends without having anything to do with them?
That's part B. Can I make the amends and not having to do with the individual, make it a private amends, basically is what you're saying. Okay, that's B. Oh, okay, all right. So step 8 is we made a list of all persons we have harmed and become willing, okay, what Kim just talked about, being willing to make amends to them all right? This is step 8. This step 8 is not even talking about do anything yet other than becoming willing, which is something, but it's not about being making connection to anybody to start off with, okay? It's to first, see, we have a real, our human part of us, we don't want to even think about it, look at it, address it. We want just to avoid, deny, and escape what's going on, right? So step 8 is first being to take a look at it, okay? Because you can't fix or deal with anything that you're not aware of or you're willing to be aware of. So first is getting focused, okay? In fact, when we were talking about this, we've been, on my Thursday class, we've been talking, in fact, I brought it up here, my sheet. Dr. Leaf, Carolyn Leaf, we've been going over an area of, and I plan on going through this in depth sometime here in the future, the 5 steps to rewire and detox your brain, okay? And the first step is basically what I just said, and that is the first step is choose to focus, okay? In other words, if you don't get a target, you definitely can't hit it. Okay, so, and that's what it's saying here in the first part of step 8 is that we make a list. She was talking about putting it down on paper. And I think this is what I was going to talk about a moment ago, is when you, and I really like what Dr. Leaf says, and this is one of her steps later, is writing something down forces your brain to think where you want it to go. Okay? Have you found that out to be so? All right. And so anyway, again, I don't want to teach that subject, but for some reason I thought I better pull that sheet out on the way up here. So, all right, so we made a list of all persons, and we won't get them all, but it's just a beginning, okay? It's the ones that's on the surface to start off with, first pass through, and that we've harmed, and become willing. Okay, I'm just willing to make amends. I'm not doing it yet. I want to be willing. I'm leaning that direction. Heavy on the word leaning. Okay? I'm leaning. I'm not even walking that way yet. I'm just getting ready to get ready. Okay? That's step 9. Step 8. Step 9 is we make a direct amends to such persons wherever possible. That's and then there's a comma. Okay? Wherever possible. Except when to do so would injure them or others. And yourself would be some of those others. Yes, ma'am.
I think sometimes when we're making our list, we have to decide whose amends it is to make. If somebody's dumped their crap on us, it may not be our amends that we have to make. We may be the wrong person, not the wrong doer.
Sure. And that's part of this scapegoat lesson that Debbie just taught, because we can become the scapegoat that everybody's dumping onto us about. But see, step 8 and step 9 is really about us more than them, okay? Because it's not about whether they accept it or they don't accept it. The reality is, Vanessa, most of the time people are hurt, angry, mad, or they're in the state of denial, so they don't want to be woke up. So when reality pushes, oftentimes they push back. Okay, and then they could continue to make you the scapegoat. Yes, maybe you did something wrong, but as what Kim read, not only, I think it was Kim, maybe it was Debbie, or maybe it was both of them, that not only do you get blamed for your stuff, but then they put all of their stuff on you too. Does that make sense? Okay, so the first question was, refresh me? Do you have to do it again? If that is really a heart issue, okay? Because again, it's about you're getting healed up, okay? It's about you. Because this is about becoming aware and being willing, and it's about activating a change, okay? Do you want the truth?
You're going to tell me anyway.
No, I won't tell you anyway.
I do want the truth. I always want the truth from you, but there's just more to the story, than...
Then I'll go back and say what I've already said, and that is it's really about your healing, it's about your heart, it's about your peace. And coming to the place that you are able to have some peace. That's what it's about. It's not about whether they get happy or they get over it or they say nice things, because it's not about we would prefer them to be able to do all those things, but that's out of your control. Okay, their response is out of your control.
I think mom hit a big thing because she knows that I tend to own their stuff. So the question now is it even necessary?
Okay.
Because is it mine? Because that's the
That's a great question, and that goes right to the Serenity Prayer, and knowing what's in your control and what's not in your control. And if you have the desire that in your heart to come to that place of healing and peace, then to a large degree you have fulfilled the intent of the exercise. Okay?
running and trying to just be a fixer.
You can't fix, but your second question, can I do it? Can I do it from a distance? Okay. For instance, if somebody were to have died and you need to make amends, and there are, and I think the book talks about it in 9, but we're not at 9 yet. And that is that you can do some living amends. You do some kindness for somebody else, okay? Because it's about I want my heart to be right, and some people, and I really don't like to say this, but there's some people that they only know how to be the way they are, and they have a right to be that way if they choose to, and it's not up to me to try to make them change. Okay? Even though I've tried that in the past. I don't even know if I should tell this or not. I had a person come up to me recently and say, and I don't know how long ago this was, it may have been 10 years ago, that I invaded their space. They had unforgiveness against me, and that I shouldn't have invaded their space, and that they found out that they needed to forgive, and so they're forgiving me. And they said it harsher than that. and I said, okay, that's fine. I intentionally was not trying to, I stopped trying to invade their space. God had already told me 10 years ago not to invade his space, to try to change those dynamics, because it's outside of my control. Now, I don't know if the dynamics has changed, but there's something different now. Okay, does that make sense? So, but my heart was really to try to do what was right. And I had to just play my part. And I think that's all we're trying to do here on step 8 and step 9. Paul was going to say something?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with separating yourself from toxic people.
Absolutely.
The way you do that may have been wrong, and you may need to go back and apologize for the way that you did that, but that doesn't mean that you have to hang out with toxic people just because you apologize.
Right. And he was right. I invaded his space. I did it on purpose to try to love that person.
I remember that, Doug. I remember when.
And so, but there's a balance in that. So anyway, and Dr. Leaf's second thing after choosing to focus, it's to analyze the information. After you focused on it, you need to analyze it, and then the next one was write it down. Is somebody saying comments on Facebook? Evidently. All right. All right. Oh, do what? Butterflies and rainbows. Well, we all grow because isn't the world a messy place? Right? And we can either be nihilistic and decide, just say, well, I'm just going to be, this is all bad, so I'm just going to be bad right along with it, and life is meaningless. That's what nihilistic means, and that I'm just going to be this way, suffer and die, okay, so, or we can choose to control this space inside of our skin and try to make a difference. And I believe that if we control this in here, it has an effect out here. Would you agree with that? Yeah. Because if you're mad, angry, upset, it has effect out here, right? So if I am able to have some sort of peace, yes. Catch it, check it, change it. And basically that Dr. Leaf's 5 steps is very similar to those 3 steps. Catch it, check it, and change it. So, well, did we do any good there so far? Can I don't know if I can even get back onto my target. But that's okay. I got 3 papers of stuff here to go over. I want to read you a scripture. How about that? And I was reminded of the scripture this morning at the men's breakfast that we had, and I remember studying it. And I'm going to just read it to you to start off with, okay? And this is out of the King James, and this is Isaiah 42:3, okay? And a bruised reed shall he not break, and a smoking flax shall he not quench. Now, let me tell you, a bruised reed, the reed that's bent or bruised, it was basically trash, okay? And so you just throw that away, all right? And so it's like, it's worthless. Anybody here ever felt like you was a bruised or broken reed? Yeah. And a smoking flax or a smoldering wick. Now, in Bible days, the flax was the wick, and when it run out of oil, when it started smoldering, I understand it was an extreme nauseous smell. Okay, I've not smelled it, but you think of the worst smell that you know and multiply it, and maybe you're starting to get close. But he was saying here that you're more valuable to him than a bruised reed, and that even if you're bruised and you think you're a piece of trash, you're not a piece of trash to him. And if you are so stinky, mentally or physically, spiritually, yes, Josh, spiritually. And how about emotionally? Shall we throw emotionally in there? I was circling around getting ready to hit that one. Even if our emotions stink and all the other, that a lot of people, all they'd want to do is just stop the stink. You know what I mean? How we are. Hello? The scripture says that you're so valuable that he's not even going to put you out. He's not going to quench you. He's not going to stop that stink. In fact, his desire has always been to restore, to refuel, to enable, to empower. The trouble is, oftentimes, he has to work against our own mental, emotional mindset. Because we go down the toxic road of life, sabotaging ourselves, and he has to catch us to try to heal us. Do you know what I'm talking about?
You really need to quench those stinky emotions.
He wants to help you with those stinky emotions. But the thing of it is, that's my 5-minute to quit time. The thing of it is, for me, when I found this scripture many years ago, it spoke to me because I identified more with the brokenness and the stinkiness. You follow me? And to realize that God valued me, even though I didn't value myself. And if I would be willing to accept his help, he was more than willing to do that. He wasn't going to throw me away. He's going to try to help me out. That's the point. How's that? Good? Good point? I also want to talk real quickly. I have about another 2 minutes, and that is I kind of touched on it a little bit last week, but I entitled this The Triad of Emotional Health. The Triad of Emotional Health, and that is number 1, love yourself. Everybody say love myself. That's the first one, this triad, love myself. Number 2, forgive myself. Everybody say. Forgive myself. And number 3 is to serve others. See, if you really love yourself, you really forgive yourself, and then you go into service, you're able to demonstrate that to others. And it affects your emotional health. What do you think about that? Yes, 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 yes. All right, thank you. Okay, I think I'll go ahead and stop a couple minutes early for a change. How about that? That makes Paul happy, so. All right, hey, I'm glad you're here. I am so glad you're here, and my desire is to add to you, to help you, to strengthen you, and let you know that why ever you're here, it doesn't matter. We just want to help you to grow, to heal, to be restored, and I'm glad you're here. So thanks for being here with us at Saturday Night Live. Paul.
Thank you, Doug. Everybody give Doug a big hand. It's really great, the tool.